We landed on the moon in 1969. Today, we can't even get back. Here's what just happened. NASA's budget got slashed by 25%. America's entire moon program, canceled. The rockets, spacecraft, everything, gone. Meanwhile, China just announced they're putting astronauts on the moon by 2030. They're building a permanent base while we're shutting down. So what went wrong? How did America go from moon conquerors to this? Elon Musk has the answer, and it's not what you think. Let's dive right in. The political war that killed our moon dreams, May 25th, 1961. President Kennedy walks into Congress and drops the most expensive bombshell in human history. We're landing on the moon before this decade ends. But here's what they never told you about that moment. Kennedy wasn't dreaming about space exploration. He was absolutely terrified. The Soviet Union had just crushed America's ego. First satellite, theirs. First man in space, theirs. First everything that mattered. America was losing the ultimate technology war, and Kennedy knew the world was watching. So he made a bet that would make Vegas gamblers blush. $24 billion. That's $200 billion in today's money. More than the entire economy of most countries. All for one mission. Beat the Russians to the moon. And you know what? It worked. Apollo 11 touches down in 1969. Armstrong plants the flag. America wins. Mission accomplished. Then something happened that changed everything. The money just disappeared. Wait, how does the richest nation on Earth just quit? The moment America betrayed its own success, July 20th, 1969. The whole world is watching Neil Armstrong take that first step. Humanity's greatest achievement, the impossible made real. But back on Earth, politicians are already sharpening their knives. Why are we still spending billions on moon rocks? The Cold War pressure was gone. We'd proven our point. Vietnam was bleeding cash. Civil riots were tearing cities apart. And suddenly, those moon missions looked like the world's most expensive publicity stunt. By 1972, the last Apollo mission was already planned. The Saturn V rocket, the most powerful machine humanity had ever built, was being turned into museum pieces. The production lines shut down forever. Here's the part that'll make your blood boil. We didn't lose the ability to go to the moon. We deliberately threw it away. But why? Why would America destroy its own superpower? Because politicians saw something terrifying in those budget reports. The shuttle trap that destroyed everything. 1981. Space shuttle launches for the first time. NASA promises this changes everything. Cheaper, reusable, routine access to space. The future is here. Except, every single promise was a lie. The shuttle cost $1.7 billion per launch. That's not cheaper, that's financial insanity. Instead of pushing deeper into space, America became a glorified taxi service. 30 years of playing delivery boy to satellites. But the real tragedy, February 1st, 2003, Columbia breaks apart during re-entry. 7 astronauts die in front of the world. And suddenly, everyone's asking the same question Kennedy's critics asked decades earlier. Is this worth human lives? President Bush tries to save America's space dreams. 2004. We're going back to the moon by 2020. The Constellation program is born. New rockets, new spacecraft. Apollo on steroids. But there's one massive problem nobody talks about. The shuttle program refuses to die. It keeps devouring money like a black hole. Constellation never gets the funding it desperately needs. 2010. Obama looks at the numbers and cancels everything. Billions wasted, years lost. America's moon dreams? Dead. Again. But this time, something different was happening in the shadows. The Artemis gamble. Why it's already failing. Enter Donald Trump. 2019. We're going back to the moon by 2024. Make America great again. In space. Artemis is born, named after Apollo's sister. Beautiful symbolism, right? Biden keeps it alive. For the first time in 50 years, both parties agree on something. We're going back. But here's where the story gets really disturbing. Artemis was supposed to cost $35 billion. Current estimate, over $93 billion. The timeline, pushed from 2024 to 2026, then 2027, now maybe 2028. And that's before Trump's 2025 budget massacre. 25% cut to NASA. The Gateway Space Station, canceled. The new moon suits, canceled. The lunar lander contract, under complete review. Sound familiar? It's the exact same pattern that's been killing America's space dreams for 50 years. Big promises, massive spending, then political reality hits like a freight train. But while America keeps hitting the reset button, something else has been happening. Something that should absolutely terrify every American watching this. China's master plan, the threat nobody saw coming. March 2024. While America's politicians debate budgets and timelines, China quietly achieves something that changes everything. Their Qiao-2 satellite slips into lunar orbit. Perfect execution. Zero fanfare. You want to know what that really means? China now controls all communications to the moon's far side. But that's just the beginning of their master plan. Chang'e 6, 2024. First samples from the moon's far side. Already launched. Already successful. While America argued about funding, Chang'e 7, 2026, South Pole mission. They're hunting for water ice, the holy grail for permanent lunar colonies. Chang'e 8, 2028, testing lunar resource extraction, building the foundation for permanent settlement. First Chinese astronauts on the moon before 2030. Not maybe, definitely. International Lunar Research Station, 2030s. Led by China, partners include Russia, Pakistan, Belarus, South Africa. Notice something missing from that list? America? While we've been canceling programs for 50 years, China has been executing a plan that spans decades. They think in generations. We think in election cycles. But here's the part that'll blow your mind. The real reason America can't win. Every 4 years, America gets a new president, new priorities, new vision, brand new space program. Bush, Mars by 2030. Obama, let's visit asteroids. Trump, moon by 2024. Biden, moon by 2026. Trump again, focus on Mars/moon funding. China doesn't have this problem. Xi Jinping isn't worried about the next election. He's planning for the next century. Their government plans in 5-year cycles that actually stick. No opposition party fighting every decision. No media circus questioning every dollar spent. America's space program changes direction more often than a drunk driver on black ice. But there's something even more sinister happening behind the scenes. The secret spending war nobody talks about. Here's what the headlines tell you. China's space budget, $8.9 billion per year. NASA's budget, $25 billion per year. So America's winning the money game, right? Dead wrong. Here's the dirty secret they don't want you to know. China's space program isn't run by scientists. It's run by the military, the same military with a $250 billion annual budget, the same military building the world's largest navy. When China builds a rocket, is it for space exploration or missile defense? When they test satellite communications, is it for science or warfare? Nobody knows, because in China there is no difference. America separates civilian NASA from military Space Force. China sees space as one giant battlefield, and they're treating it like they're already at war. The point of no return. Right now, as you're watching this video, China is probably conducting another lunar mission. Their rovers are analyzing moon rocks. Their satellites are mapping every resource. Their engineers are designing permanent bases. While America argues about budgets and timelines, China is building the infrastructure to own the moon. Water on the moon? China will control it first. Helium-3 for fusion energy? China will mine it first. Lunar manufacturing? China will dominate it first. The moon isn't just a destination anymore. It's the ultimate high ground for the next century of human civilization. In America, we're still stuck in budget committee meetings. But here's the question that should be keeping every American awake at night. What happens when China plants their flag permanently on the moon and America is still arguing about whether we can afford the trip? The race isn't starting, it's almost over, and we're not even on the track. This is exactly what Elon Musk has been desperately trying to warn us about. America's broken system that kills every dream before it can take flight. The clock is ticking. The window is closing. And China? They're already planning the victory celebration. So here's what we learned today. America had the moon and threw it away. 50 years of political games while China played the long game. Elon Musk was right. Our system is broken. We dream big, spend billions, then hit reset every 4 years. But here's the deeper question nobody's asking. What if this isn't just about the moon? What if this is about everything America used to dominate? Technology, manufacturing, innovation. China's patient. They plan in decades. We plan in election cycles. The moon race is just the beginning. The real battle is for the future of human civilization itself. And right now, we're losing. But what do you think? Is America's political system killing our space dreams? Or is there something else going on? Drop your thoughts below. And if this opened your eyes to what's really happening in space, there's a lot more coming. Because the space race isn't just about rockets and flags anymore. It's about who controls the next chapter of human history. Subscribe to Space Core if you want the real story behind the headlines. The universe is waiting. The question is, who's going to claim it first? Blue Origin thought they had the upper hand. But SpaceX just pulled off something incredible in Florida. While Blue Origin was busy with their secret fuel transporter, SpaceX quietly built a monster facility, 380 feet tall, 11 times bigger than Starbase. The kicker? They're targeting 44 launches per year from Florida alone. That's nearly one launch every week. But here's the twist nobody expected. Let's dive right in. The hidden war behind the moon race. Here's what really happened. While everyone was watching Blue Origin's fancy presentations about their fuel transporter, SpaceX was executing a master plan that would make even Elon Musk smile. The Florida gamble that changed everything. March 3rd, 2025. SpaceX drops a single announcement that sends shockwaves through the industry. First Florida Starship launch. Late 2025? Sounds simple, right? Wrong. This wasn't just another launch announcement. This was SpaceX declaring war on the traditional space timeline. And Blue Origin? They had no idea what was coming. But here's where it gets interesting. Blue Origin had been betting everything on their secret weapon, a sophisticated fuel transporter capable of hauling 100 metric tons to lunar orbit. They thought complexity would win the race. SpaceX had a different idea entirely. While Blue Origin's engineers were perfecting their T-shaped masterpiece, SpaceX was building something that would make their competitors question everything they thought they knew about space manufacturing. The monster that Blue Origin never saw coming. The Gigabay facility isn't just big, it's a manufacturing beast that redefines what's possible. 380 feet tall, 46.5 million cubic feet of interior space. You could fit the entire Statue of Liberty inside this thing, sideways. But size isn't the scary part. It's what happens inside those walls that should terrify the competition. 24 simultaneous workstations. Think about that for a moment. While Blue Origin focuses on crafting one perfect fuel transporter, SpaceX is preparing to build starships like Toyota builds cars. Mass production meets rocket science. And the target? 44 launches per year from Florida alone? That's not just ambitious, that's potentially industry-ending for anyone who can't keep up. But wait, there's more Blue Origin didn't expect. The technical reality that nobody talks about. Now, here's where Blue Origin's approach reveals a dangerous weakness. Their fuel transporter sounds incredible on paper. Liquid hydrogen at minus 253 degrees Celsius. Liquid oxygen at minus 183 degrees Celsius. Complex zero boil-off systems that would make any engineer proud. But there's a problem nobody wants to discuss. Cryogenic fuel storage in space isn't just about keeping things cold. It's about keeping them cold for weeks, maybe months, while traveling from Earth orbit to lunar orbit. One system failure, one tiny leak, and your entire mission becomes an expensive ice cube floating in space. What happens then? SpaceX's approach? Brute force reliability. builds so many starships that if one fails, two more are ready to launch. It's the difference between crafting a Swiss watch and manufacturing Ford trucks. Both work, but only one can win a war of numbers. And Blue Origin is about to learn this lesson the hard way. The underwater secret that reveals everything, but Blue Origin isn't surrendering without a fight. Their recent underwater tests at NASA's Neutral Buoyancy Lab reveal something crucial about their strategy. They're preparing for crewed missions with surgical precision. Divers in weighted spacesuits, full-scale mock-ups, emergency procedures practiced over and over. Blue Origin is betting that when astronauts finally land on the moon, their system will be the one that brings them home safely. It's the tortoise and hare story, except the tortoise carries human lives. Yet something doesn't add up. While Blue Origin perfects their underwater ballet, SpaceX is already stacking launch towers at LC-39A. The orbital launch mount is taking shape. The flame trench is being carved from Florida bedrock. Two companies, two completely different philosophies, but only one can reach the moon first. The infrastructure war nobody expected. Here's what changes everything. While everyone debates fuel transporters and launch schedules, the real battle is happening in concrete and steel. SpaceX isn't just building rockets, they're building an empire. LC-39A already has its launch tower standing tall. SLC-37 is in development. Every piece of infrastructure is modeled after the successful Pad B design at Starbase. But here's what makes this terrifying for competitors. SpaceX now has the experience. Remember Starbase's Pad B? It went from basic construction to structural completion in just months. Every lesson learned, every mistake avoided, every process streamlined. That learning curve is now accelerating everything in Florida. Blue Origin, meanwhile, is still assembling their first Mark I lander at their Florida facility. One lander, ready in 6 weeks. Then off to Johnson Space Center for thermal vacuum testing. See the difference? SpaceX is building infrastructure for hundreds of missions. Blue Origin is carefully crafting individual spacecraft. One approach scales, the other doesn't. The timeline that breaks all the rules. This is where the story gets absolutely wild. SpaceX claims they'll launch from Florida by late 2025. Industry experts called it impossible. The infrastructure isn't ready, they said. The environmental reviews aren't complete, they argued. But what if they're right? What if SpaceX actually pulls this off? Artemis 3 is scheduled for mid-2027. That gives SpaceX exactly 18 months to prove their orbital refueling system works. 18 months to demonstrate they can land humans on the moon and bring them back. 18 months to validate everything. Blue Origin's timeline? Their first Mark I mission happens this year. Maybe. Their crewed missions happen before the end of the decade, possibly. One company is racing against a specific deadline. The other is building toward a general time frame. Which approach wins when NASA needs results yesterday? The manufacturing revolution that changes everything. Here's the part that Blue Origin never saw coming. SpaceX's manufacturing revolution wasn't just about rockets. It was about changing how space companies think about production entirely. Traditional aerospace builds one-off custom vehicles. Each spacecraft is a masterpiece, beautiful, expensive, irreplaceable. SpaceX builds fleets. When your Gigabay facility can house 24 Starships simultaneously, you're not just making rockets faster, you're making failure less catastrophic. Blue Origin's fuel transporter is incredible technology. Absolutely revolutionary. But it's still single point of failure technology. One transporter breaks, one mission fail. SpaceX's approach creates redundancy through volume. And here's the kicker that should keep Blue Origin's executives awake at night. That same Gigabay design philosophy could work for fuel transporters too. If SpaceX wanted to build their own version of Blue Origin's system, they could probably manufacture 10 of them in the time Blue Origin builds one. The philosophy war that determines everything. So what happens when an unstoppable force meets an immovable object? When mass production meets precision engineering? When SpaceX's quantity faces Blue Origin's quality? The answer might surprise you. Because while these companies appear to be bitter competitors, they're actually solving different parts of the same impossible problem. SpaceX excels at getting to space efficiently and repeatedly. Blue Origin specializes in complex operations once you're already there. Both approaches have merit. Both companies have brilliant engineers. Both are pushing the boundaries of what's possible. But here's the twist that could change everything. The winner might not be determined by who builds the better system. It might be determined by who can adapt their system faster when something inevitably goes wrong. SpaceX has proven they can iterate rapidly, fail fast, improve quickly, blow things up, and learn from the explosion. Blue Origin has proven they can engineer solutions that work perfectly the first time. No explosions, no failures, no second chances needed. In the unforgiving environment of space, which philosophy will ultimately prevail? The stakes that nobody understands. This isn't just about reaching the moon anymore. The race between SpaceX and Blue Origin is determining how humanity will explore space for the next 50 years. Mass production versus precision crafting, speed versus safety, quantity versus quality. And Florida? Florida is where this war will be won or lost. SpaceX's 44 launches per year target isn't just a number, it's a statement. It's saying we can make space travel routine, boring, predictable. Blue Origin's approach is saying space travel should remain special, careful, perfect. Two visions of humanity's future among the stars, but only one company can be right. So here's what Blue Origin never expected. SpaceX didn't just build a bigger facility in Florida. They built a completely different future. One where space travel becomes as routine as catching a flight to Vegas. But here's the real question. What happens when these two philosophies collide on the lunar surface? When SpaceX's mass-produced Starships meet Blue Origin's precision-crafted landers, who wins? The answer might not be what you think, because maybe, just maybe, we need both approaches to succeed. SpaceX gets us there fast and cheap, Blue Origin brings us home safely. And that changes everything about how we think about space exploration. What do you think? Are we witnessing the birth of two complementary space empires? Or is this a winner-take-all battle that will define humanity's future among the stars? Drop your thoughts below. And if you're as fascinated by this space race as we are, there's a lot more coming. The moon is just the beginning.